Hey, welcome. And today we're going to be talking about the top 20 Southern University Fabulous Dancing Doll halftime shows or field shows of all time. Now, of course, I didn't want to just randomly pick these routines. I wanted to have some sort of criteria to pick them. So, number one, creativity. Do we see things in the routine that maybe we had not seen before from the dolls? Do we get new movements? Is the kick line creative? Do we have a good intro? Is the ending different? Then we have technique. So that's just your typical dance technique. With the dolls, it ends up being a lot of jazz and ballet technique. But even though they have hip hop in there every now and then, or certainly in the more recent decades. Third is execution, because you could throw a whole bunch of turns and leaps and this and that in there, but if the team isn't doing it well, or if they aren't selling the routine besides the technique, like how well are they performing it? And then I decided to throw in memorable, right? So sometimes routines have technique and they are creative, but maybe we just really don't remember them, or they don't leave any type of lasting effect. Then lastly, wow factor. Were there any moments in the routine that got a crowd response? Because somewhere along the way, well, that used to be really common, but somewhere along the way they kind of stopped. But did the crowd react? Did the routine leave you saying like, oh, okay, or oh, they did that, So each of these, they have 20 points with a maximum score, total score of 100. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We are now in our top 10. And coming in at number 10 is Get Up, 2006. And the captain is Brittany Beal. I love that. I don't know why I love this routine so much. It was very creative. It was very, very creative. And it was filled with movements that we did not seen from the dolls. Come on. That was good. Look at this. Like, we never saw anything like that from them. I just think it's so cohesive. Look at this. That's good. That's good. This is kind of iconic now. I really think Get Up is iconic now. Look at this. Come on, the girl standing here with no partner back there. I don't know who that is. Look like one of the Hall twins. Faked everybody out. Just knew a kick line was coming. It wasn't. Look at them. That was good. I swear I've always loved that routine. As far as creativity, gave it a 16 out of 20. That was a very creative routine, certainly for the time. And even now, like the movements and choreo that they were putting in that was, clearly coming from the Sierra hip hop style, but you just never would have expected that coming out of that like 2002 to 2004 era. 05, 06 kind of spiced it up in places, but they were very much in a box, I think, at that point. And they came out of the box, and low-key, they went right back in, because that's kind of the only routine from that year that I think was worthy mentioning. And even from that whole little era, 06 to 09, this is probably it. For me, that's what it is. But anyway, technique, there was a lot of good technique in there. Brittany Beal, you can just tell that that's something that she valued, and I remember it even when she started coaching other dance teams in DeKalb. Turns and jumps and some good kick turn sequences that I really liked there. At the execution of that, I gave that a 16 out of 20. I think the squad performed that routine very, very well. It wasn't memorable. I definitely think that's a very memorable routine out of that decade. Out of the 2000s, despite what people want to say, I think there's only like a good little 4 routines worth mentioning as being iconic, and Get Up would be one of them. And it may be around the top. Besides 2001 and maybe something out of 2002, but not really. The doll squads that ruled the 2000s would just be '01, maybe '02. I really don't care for them. '05 and '06 doing this routine. I don't think '06 past this routine was all that good, and I don't think anything that came after them was really all that great either. That's just a personal opinion. But anyway, I gave it a wow factor score of 15. There's nothing really in the routine that would make somebody say wow, but I think the arrangement would make you say wow, and just the overall fluidity of the routine, driving all the way to the very end pose, would make someone say wow. And I remember people just kind of being like really wanting to applaud that routine, and we did applaud it. Number 9, The Other Side from 2017, and the captain is Danielle Stamper. I love this uniform, I always have. Bodied. Goodness. Now this should be iconic by now, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is. This was good. Look at them. Come on, classic doll. Good, look at that. Oh, they are dancing, okay. Ooh. Yeah. Uh-oh, I almost missed the kick line. Look, you saw that? I mean, that's all coming from Tracy Prince and Christy Vincent. Anytime they do that. Oh, that routine should have ended better than it did. Creativity, I give it a 16 out of 20. I don't even think I really need to say anything about why it was creative, but the formations were very creative. If you were to see it from up top, that was very different. Even the strut on, which I didn't include, was very different. Let's talk about technique, because technique is kind of the highlight of that routine. I mean, they put it in your face from the very first section with, who was that? Taneria, Jordan, and Micah doing the very huge split leap. I don't even know if I can call that a split leap. A switch? It's a switch. I can't even tell. I mean, it's a little bit different from a, who cares? That should get an award itself, because Taneria, the way she bodied that, actually all 3 of them, the way they bodied that is just crazy. Like, that should just be a picture on the front of the band hall, in my opinion. All throughout, we get good showcases. We get some good just good overall incorporation of technique, and not in the way that sometimes doll routines will do it. Like, it's like they have a checklist. We're gonna do a double pirouette. Does our routine have a double pirouette? Does it have a switch leap? Does it have a fan kick? And it's like, good, let's stop. When it was incorporated throughout, and it was all throughout seamlessly. It didn't seem like they were just checking boxes on what the routine needed to have. Execution of the routine and technique is a 16 out of 20. I think it was great. If I had to just base it off of the 3 in the beginning, it would be a 21. But anytime they have a very up-tempo song that is driving pretty quickly, I think the execution forces them to be invested. Unlike some of the other kind of groove, mid-tempo songs they pick, that always ends up being a drag. And, you know, sometimes that's not their fault. As far as memorable, I gave that an 18. I think everybody is going to remember that intro for the longest time, and a wow factor of 16. Could have been a little bit better. I think if they ended that routine much better than they did, that would just seal the deal. Number 8. And number 8 is Don't Want to Lose Your Love, but from 2018, and the captain is Gabby Dixon. Now, of course, everyone loved this so much because it's the same uniform and same routine from 2012. Ooh, gosh, that was so good. That was so good. I'm still talking about that double pirouette. I don't know why, but it was just good. And I love the change in choreo that they made here. That whole section right there, love it. Love it. Good. Come on, Kaylin. This is so good. So good. Ooh, so good. I mean, there's nothing. Yeah. Come on, showcase, showcase. Energy. This is everything. And I love that they changed the ending. That is now a classic routine in my opinion, and it kind of sucks because it's not really theirs. And I almost put 2012 in place of theirs, but there's no denying that the 2018 squad executed this like 10, 12 times better than the 2012 squad. I mean, but for creativity, I gave it a 15 out of 20, and it's only lower because it was going to be a 10 out of 20 just because of the standard I set for, what was it, Working Day and Night, because it's a remake, so it's not like that 2018 squad sat down and made that routine. But I didn't want to put 2012 video because it's not as good as that one. And it is good. I like that 2012 video. I used to stand for it for the longest, but 2018 like bodied that. So I gave it a 15 out of 20 because not only that, they did put in new pieces of choreo, and the pieces of choreo they put in are better than what was in it. Like kind of in that middle section, I think that was great. I think the kind of freestyle, show off your technique, was better than whatever little weak switch leap they had in 2012. I think the ending to this one was better than the ending in 2012 with that low toe touch. Okay, let me stop. The technique, goodness gracious. I gave that a 17 out of 20. The little bit that they added in, of course, showcased technique. The section in the middle that ended with the fan kick, I thought was absolutely amazing. The way they did the double pirouette in the beginning, they just did it so well, incorporating the arms, and it was synchronized almost perfectly. I didn't really look to see who fell out of it, but that's not important to me right now. The execution of that is a 19 out of 20 for me. I think the entire team sold it. Like I said, it was executed much better than 2012. But I mean, look at what you got. I mean, you got Ariel Brooks on the team. You got Taneria, you got Kaylin, you got Jada, you have Cameron. Like, they all bodied that routine, and the execution is almost flawless. Certainly memorable. I went ahead and gave it a 17 out of 20 just because part of it being memorable is coming from the fact that it's a remake, and I don't say we only liked it because we'd seen it before, and they're in the uniform that it was done in, but overall that was certainly a wow factor. I mean, just the parts that they added in produced a wow factor. The freestyle technique sequence, that was definitely a wow factor, even though the people did like the toe touch sequence as well. And the ending is a wow factor. I mean, it was just beautiful positions in the air, just a beautiful visual. That's one of my favorite routines of all time. And of course, the song, everybody loves that song when the Juke plays it. I mean, that's just one of the best doll feature songs that the Jukebox has ever had. So anyway, let's move on. We are on number 7. Another Gabby Dixon field show, because we already know Gabby wasn't playing. Here we have Eaten Alive 2018. The captain is Gabby Dixon. Come on. Ooh, this intro. Ooh. Clean choreography. Clean. Ooh, clean. That's all that I can say is just clean. Come on. Never seen this. Never seen this from them. Never seen that. Clean performance, showmanship, technique. Come on. Those girls were dancing that day. Look at Jada. Ooh, that was good. Come on, dance. Creativity. Ooh, clean. Just clean. Come on. Say we're not gonna give you a full kick line. Ooh. Now that's a sequence that I do like. That's a ripple sequence that I do like. It's such a shame that Gabby had such a hard year when everything that kind of came under her reign was great. I just don't understand that. I mean, she has a lot of haters. I am not one of them. I was one in the beginning, but again, I mean, she proved us wrong. I can't get over that enough. But anyway, Eaten Alive is a classic now in my mind, in a lot of people's minds. But anyway, I gave that an 86 out of 100. Creativity is a 17 out of 20. I don't think I really need to explain why that was creative, just from the intro. And not even just like, sometimes people think creativity is just like something really weird and exciting really needs to happen. But in the Dolls case, like if we get choreography that we don't see that much or that is very different, I mean, she showcased a lot of that here. The circle motions, of course, the ending, the fake kick line that you didn't really get a kick line because they just went into a ripple of heel stretches, into a split and got back up. I mean, the technique was great in that. I can't even begin to name all of the different pieces, but again, this is when I won't say this is when they, but kind of slowly coming around the end, I say 17 to 19, 2017 and 2019, we started to get seamless incorporation of technique throughout the entire routine. Like, this shows that. And we used to just get the checklist where they were going to do this, do that, switch lead, they're going to do this, do that, walk, 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 do a double pirouette, you know, but this is like, we're going to be incorporating it throughout the routine in ways and in different sections that you didn't even know was coming. I mean, goodness gracious. So that technique was a 19 out of 20 and the execution was a 19 out of 20. They all sold that routine. In some ways, it seemed like they knew they were being filmed. I mean, we see the section where Jada clearly looks at the camera. Memorable. Definitely, I gave it a 17 for memorable. Because I still don't think people are going to remember that too much. I don't know. I feel like you'd really have to follow them in that case. It's still a little recent to say if it's memorable or not. And for wow factor, outside of the ending, I don't think there was too much going on. But other than that, not really. So I just gave that a 14 out of 20. Okay. Number 6. Where Have You Been? 2012. And the captain is the Sierra Cole. That's a good opening pose. I think they did that for Sugar Mama too. Yeah. Energy. Come on, Sierra. Come to the 50. Yeah, yeah. Bop, bop. Never seen that from them. I really like this breakdown right there. I'm not sure why. I've always liked that kick line too. That was very inventive choreography during that whole section. I swear. That part was slow. I don't know who brought that 8 count in there, but anyway. And double. Yeah, that. That was great. That was great. That was great. Then, I mean, I think everyone knows that that is now an iconic routine, particularly the one from Boombox where they are in Gold Beyonce. As far as creativity, I gave it a 17 out of 20. It could have been a little bit more creative than it was. Now that I'm really looking at it, like coming right after Eaten Alive, I don't really know if that was all that creative. But honestly, it has the same creativity score as Eaten Alive, and I don't know if that should really be the case. Creativity, there was a lot of creative choreo in that. I think I'm trying to see. We get that kind of staggered ripple in the middle of the routine, which I don't think we really got a good little. I don't know if I want to call it a stag leap or what, but I don't remember seeing that before. And of course, I love a good split jump ending. Now, granted, the dolls have done that a lot over the years, and I'm not sure why I like them doing it to this routine because it's making it seem like they've never done that before. They've done that several times, but it was the lead up to it. It was the choreo that was in front of the split jump. It was just such abandon and energy, and the song kind of really led up to it in a good way. I think that's what it is. But technique, I gave it a 15. There's not too much going on in there. There's not too much technique going on in there. We get a good little double in the ending, but I really think the technique for me is coming with the choreography, the execution of it. I'm giving it a 19 out of 20 because the energy was certainly there. I think the team executed it well. You could see that they were very much into it. I try not to zoom in on Sierra too much because she will kind of she'll just kind of have you saying the whole team is amazing and the whole team looks good because you're like looking at her. But they really did. I think they did. I think that was a team of killers for the most part. Those were some of the best crabs that the dolls have had. And they all performed that very, very well. The memorable, of course, that's a 19 out of 20. Was there a wow factor? I gave it an 18 out of 20 because this routine it really shook the table that year. That is now an iconic routine for all of their years. That is an iconic routine for all of their years. If you are a real doll fan, you could possibly guess the top 5, maybe. There's probably one you won't guess, but let's go ahead and get into it. People probably thought that this would be in the top 3 at least, maybe even top 2, but it's not. Number 5 is Do My Thing. This is the 2005 squad, and the captains were Akai Smith, Raven, and Rihanna Hall, for whatever reason. Come on. This is like the only routine where everyone is dying for a remake. We've been asking for this forever, for real. Energy. Look at her. I don't know who that is. Is that Rihanna on the 50? I can't tell. I used to know. Ooh, perfect. Perfect. That had to be Rihanna, I think. So good. Kick. Fan kick. Double pirouette. Ooh. Yeah, that's it, y'all. They are dancing. Come on. All 5 of them. Ain't that crazy? Good. Come on. And I love this walk back. Brittany Bill did it the best. And done. To some people, that is the best doll routine of all time. Creativity is a 19 out of 20. I mean, I think everyone can see exactly why that routine was creative, just with 5 dolls. And you know, did we have 5 dolls before? We had 5 dolls several times, right? Kind of in the I know, what was 2004? That may have been 6, I can't remember. Anyway, just 5 dolls, and they worked that routine wonderfully. It gave you essence of 90s dolls, and I think it did because I read or heard somewhere that Tracy Prince choreographed that, or Kiki Eli, I'm not sure which one, but you can tell that it came from another era because the routines they had that year weren't really like that. That With Me and that Serious, I don't remember the other routines they had that year, but anyway, that was a great routine. The technique was on point. I mean, say what you want about them Hall twins, but they could dance. Those Hall twists could dance, and I still can't tell which one that was on the 50s during that little technique section, but she bodied everything. She bodied every pirouette, and she had the attitude, so the execution was on point. I gave it about an 18 out of 20 because it was a little bit easier to see who was who and who wasn't really all the way in there. But anyway, I gave it an 18 out of 20 because they all sold that routine. Is it memorable? Absolutely. That's a 20 out of 20. That's a routine that everybody, if you've seen it, you're gonna remember it. If you remember it at the time, you're not gonna forget it. If you just saw it for the first time, you're not gonna forget that one. I don't think so. I can't see how. And as far as a wow factor, I gave it an 18 out of 20. There wasn't too much wow going on, except the fact that they were just dancing so well and with so much energy and showmanship. But the flip that they did, someone may think that that was a wow factor. I don't really think that was a wow factor. That could have been left out. They could have done something much better. But other than the fact that it was just good, I don't think there was any other wow factor there. Number 4, we have one that I feel like people may disagree with, but you really shouldn't, because I mean, and you may feel some type of way that I put this above Where Have You Been and Do My Thing, but Conga 2019, and the captain is Micah, and I don't remember how to say her last name, so we're just gonna get into the video. I mean, I can't tell you how much I love this routine from right here. Goodness. Like, what? What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, this routine was like, we're about to show y'all that we know how to dance. Like, that's all I can think about. It's like, that had to be on their minds, whoever was choreographing this. I don't know. Kid. Oh, that was so good. Besides this uniform that I hate and everybody else loves, apparently. Great. Look at that. That was picture perfect. Showmanship. Style. Look at them selling the routine. That was an actual good visual. I love that. I love that. Coming out of the kick line, man. That's good. And bad ending. Man, bad ending. They was like, let's just finish this routine. All right. That's one of my favorite routines of all time from them. Certainly of the decade, that's my favorite. I mean, and I don't know if it's because of I'm a stickler for technique or what, because I'm nobody. I used to dance. But still, it's just like, that was the one where it was like, oh, these girls are not playing with y'all. Like, they literally, I mean, the creativity, I gave it an 18. I do think some other routines, like Do My Thing, were a little bit more creative than that, but 18 out of 20 on creativity. Eating Alive was actually a little bit more creative than this. I keep going back to Eating Alive, thinking about, I think I underscored it a little bit, but technique, this is the only routine in this list that I gave it a 20 out of 20. And it's different because there have been some squads and some routines that have put in a lot of technique, like say that Love Stone from 2008, or maybe, I'm trying to think of another one that just had too much technique in it, but the team couldn't do it. But this team, I mean, they put in technique that I have not seen. I have seen an open second leap from the dolls several times. I cannot tell, I don't think I've seen an open switch second leap. And not only did they all used to get the times where the dolls would put in things like open second leaps and it would only be like 3 people doing it, or the girls who could do it. The whole team bodied the open switch second leap. They bodied it, not everybody, but everybody had to do it. And Some were better than others, but they all did it. And not only that, they like jumped out of it and then went into front attitude turns. I've never seen the Dolls do front attitude turns. First of all, you're not going to see many teams doing front attitude turns. And they were in sync. Then they went into what, I can't even remember the order, but they went into like Alistair Cone turns, and those were good. It was much better than Let It Whip or O'Sheila turns or however many other times they've done that. Then they went into like a coupe turn. I was just like, all right. Like this looked like, it looked like UDA, like we're trying to be on a UDA competition stage. And I really wish this could have just gone into 2020, that dang pandemic, because that team, the girls that they ended up getting that year, like on the little 2021 squad, some of them girls could really, really dance in that little video where they showcased them. And it just seemed like the team was going for such an upward, like we're moving into the next decade, and if you're gonna be on this team, you really gotta dance. Like you really gotta dance. And Ariel, I don't know if she's the captain, but Cameron is a technical beast too. I just feel like they about to skyrocket, because that at the end, I mean, I just couldn't believe, when I watched it, I just had never seen that much technique in a doll routine done well, which is why their execution was a 19 out of 20. Those kicks, I mean, just the choreography, they sold it, they understood the style of the song. Gosh, I mean, that was a good routine. Was it memorable? I gave it a 16 out of 20. Because I don't know if it's really all that memorable. I don't know how many people have really, really seen it. It was just so many years ago, and I can't really say it's memorable yet. Wow factor, I gave that an 18 out of 20. The ripple in the middle, just, they could have ended that much better and gotten a really that's one of the best Bayou Classic game halftime shows of the decade, I'd say. Because contrary to popular belief, the halftimes at Bayou Classic from the Dolls have kind of not been that great. Over a long time. They were really good in the 90s, but like in the late 2000s, they were all bad. In this decade, I can't even remember which ones were good. I think Applause by April was okay. 14, I don't even know what it was. 15, Stanley was all right. 16, it was okay. 17, I don't remember what it was. 18 was good. I almost put it in here. But this takes the cake. All right, let me shut up. All right, so now we are in our top 3. Come a long way, and here is one that I think the average doll fan would say needs to be in the top 3 of all doll routines. So without further ado, here we are. This is I'm Real 2001. The captain is none other than Davique Dumars. Let's go ahead and look at it. I mean, look at that. Come on. I don't know the last time I've seen the Dolls do Fuertes. Certainly not on turf. Where is this uniform, bruh? Like, what? Clean. Look at these kicks. Look at these kicks. Bow, bow. Clean. Fan kick. Perfect fan kicks. I don't know what was up with that. I don't know what was up with that. Jamming. Slow moment in the routine. But they're having a lot, so whatever. Die. Oh my goodness. I never liked that part. Look at these kicks. Jump split. That's iconic. And you know, sometimes people kind of hate I'm Real. Some people hate I'm Real, and I see why. I mean, if you aren't into their style, you can come across like, what? Why does everybody love that? But Let's look at it. I don't even know. I can't even remember. Um, I'm Real is just so strange because the Dolls, or at least at that time, the jukebox had a weird way of taking songs that nobody cared about and then like turning them into band standards. Like that's not even the I'm Real remix. That's like the actual I'm Real. And it's like, why were they dancing to that? And not only that, I gave it a creativity score of 18 because I don't know whose idea it was. I guess it was Dave East. I wasn't there, but the fact that that song is the way that it is, and they're just like, we're gonna start off and we're gonna do three groups and just showcase classical dance technique on I'm Real by Jennifer Lopez. Like, why? But in itself, that was creative because I'd not seen that from them, and you didn't see that from them before, not in that way. That was very creative for that time, and you didn't really get it ever again. And there were no dance teams. I can't name a dance team that would have come out doing fouettes on turf, and they were very clean fouettes with that. I just don't understand that. Some other things that were creative about it at the time, their transition from classical dance right into like hip hop dancing, and that's one of the only routines around that time that a lot of hip hop was in it, and they didn't really do that too much. They would have their hip hop breakdowns, and but that was pretty much all you had. And as far as execution goes, that's a 20 out of 20 for me. Every time they did a step, I mean, they did I'm Real so many times, and I feel like this is the best performance of it at Bayou 2001. But those three groups, they were absolutely perfect. I mean, if you compare it to the remake in 2012 and all of the times they did it after that in 2002 and 2003, I mean, nothing compares to the execution of this squad right here. Perfect kicks. I mean, just perfect arm positions, perfect stance, and just everything is there. I just don't understand that. Is it, the technique is 19 out of 20 and the execution is 20 out of 20. There could have been a little bit more technique in that, but whatever. I mean, there's no other, when you think of doll and just dance technique, any routine that deals with dolls and technique, people always went to I'm Real. Now they should be going to Conga, in my opinion, but whatever. Is it memorable? Absolutely. Everybody remembers I'm Real. Everybody, if you've seen it. I like the 2012 remake. It was just a mess. And they did it again in 2015. But anyway, was there a wow factor? I don't really, that's arguable. Some people say that routine is boring as crap. There are a lot of people who still say that. Everything is biased. But a wow factor of 16, because there's not really anything going on. If a dance person would be wowed at the beginning of it, but the people in the stands didn't really care about what was going on. The only thing they really cared about was the jump split. But to me and anybody else in the dance world, like the whole routine was kind of a wow. But that's a 16 out of 20. Cool. All right. For the silver medal. It was hard for me to do this because I think the average doll fan who's been around would put this as number one, but it's actually going to be number two today. For the silver medal, second place, we have With Me from 1998, and the captain is the Christy Vincent. Let's take a look. Now, y'all know this routine is over in the blink of an eye, but here we go. They jam to the songs of Destiny Child. With Me. Goodness. Bow, 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 bow. Dancing. Goodness, you can't even. Gosh. Look at those kicks. Woo! It's like you can just feel their energy right now. Dancing so hard. Look, the band was blowing. This little mirror motion thing here is iconic. Look at them, busting loose, jamming, like feeling it. Look at them. Goodness. And done. Goodness gracious. So again, like that's another example of the jukebox taking a song that no one really knew. I mean, Destiny's Child had just come out, and With Me, I don't know if any people really know With Me by Destiny's Child, but one is not that fast at all. And the fact that they heard it and was like, oh, let's play this, I still don't understand. And then it just turns into like a classic dancing doll feature, and the song itself is so stupid. But anyway, With Me, goodness, just the epitome of dancing dolls to a lot of people. Creativity, that was absolutely creative. I gave it a 19 out of 20. For that time, I mean, we did have Tracy Prince that brought a lot of style to the dolls, but this, I'm trying to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn too much. I want to say this is like the first hip hop dance routine they did, and that's not really true. They used to put a little bit of hip hop elements in it in like 95 to 96 and 97. But this, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, y'all point me to the right routine, I believe this is the first hip hop drum breakdown that we get from the dolls, you know, that they end up doing forever. After that, they would always have like their little drum beat hip hop breakdown, which became awful and really formulaic later. But I really want to say this was like the first one. And I don't know who choreographed it, if it was Christy or Kiki Eli. I've heard different stories. It could have just been both of them. But that was absolutely creative for the time. And if you listen, that hip hop dance break got the crowd yelling because they hadn't seen that before. They hadn't seen the dolls bust out and start dancing like that ever. So that was extremely creative. The technique, there wasn't too much technique going on, and that's fine. It didn't really need it. But again, you know, when we say technique in dance, we tend to just talk about jazz and ballet, but hip hop is a technique. You know, hip hop is actual dance technique. And in that case, that was almost a masterclass. And you wouldn't think that the Dancing Dolls would be able to do that. But that is like a masterclass in good hip hop dance technique. And the execution, 20 out of 20. That whole squad executed that. Now, the next year, 99, they kept doing it. I don't think it was that good that year. But the execution of that performance with that squad, that's a 20 out of 20. Is it memorable? 20 out of 20. And nobody can deny that. Was it a wow factor? The whole routine itself is a wow factor. The crowd literally started yelling in the middle because of how good it was, you know? So that gets a score of a 94. The only thing bringing it down, technique. There could have been a little bit more in there. We think about the 2005 version, which people also love, and I love the 2005 version as well. But that version is not good. They had a little bit more technique in that version, but that With Me of 2005 is actually boring. It's boring and I love it, but it's boring. That whole ending section is just like, what are y'all doing? But I'm glad that 2019 paid tribute and did both routines in this 50th season. All right, here we are, the gold medal, #1 spot. And I had to revisit it because I almost forgot about it. And some people may not even know what it's about to be. But let's go ahead and take a look. We are at #1. This is Working Day and Night, 1995. The captain is the Tracy Prince. Let's take a look. Classic. Like the crowd was taken off guard immediately. Look at them performing. I don't even know what uniform this is. I can't really tell. Dancing. Woo! What is this band playing? Iconic. Goodness. Look at that. Wow. Look at them. Taking risks, boy. Taking risks. Look at them dancing. performing. Crowd loved it, and the crowd goes wild. It's absolutely iconic right off the bat. If you look at it, some people don't even really know about that one. We really just kind of remember the 2008 version. Some people remember the 2000s version, but you can see very clearly that those routines were paying tribute to this one because that is one of the first breakout doll routines. Maybe Scream, maybe no, maybe Her Getaway, maybe Let It Whip. Actually, '94 could be considered some of those. But this Working Day and Night, I mean, clearly you see it was a breakthrough performance. Like the crowd had never seen anything like that from them, and it just shows. And the performance was there. Creativity, absolutely. I mean, she borrowed so many aspects from Michael Jackson, so much risk taking and hair throwing and impersonation. I mean, we had not seen that. And you don't really see that too much from them anymore. I'd say the closest thing to like impersonation or trying to grab onto something from pop culture would be like Get Up, that Get Up routine where they were really imitating kind of the Sierra dance moves. But Michael Jackson is it, and if you're going to do anything to Michael Jackson, you have to come with it. And they groove it and give you the personality and musicality that it requires. So creativity, that's a 20 out of 20. Technique, unlike With Me, right? Unlike the With Me routine, Tracy Prince she mixed in all factors. She mixed in current dance, she mixed in Michael Jackson's performance, and she mixed in dance technique throughout the routine. And she brought in that creative kick line. She introduced that kind of turn fan kick combo that the dolls put in everything after that. They do that like the most. And the execution of it, the execution was on par throughout the entire squad from what you could see. And certainly for that time, I'm certain it could have been better or later years, but for that time, I mean, the execution was absolutely astounding. So I gave that an 18 out of 20. But is it memorable? Absolutely. It inspired all of the Working Day and Night routines that would come after it. There are so many aspects in that routine that you can see that the dolls kept trying to get back, and sometimes they were successful, sometimes they weren't. And the wow factor, that's one of the only routines that you will find where the crowd starts cheering for them before the dance is even over at the end. They start cheering for them like in the first 10 seconds because they're so blown away at what's going on and how well they are performing. So if I could give that a 21 out of 20, I would give it to them. But Working Day and Night, Tracy Prince, I mean, if you ask the dolls, they would put her at the top of everything. They already kind of do. But that's my opinion on that one. I mean, you won't find other routines that just have it all, that have the creativity, the execution, and buy-in from the whole squad, that has the technique throughout, and it's extremely memorable, and you are wowed in more than one section of the dance, right? There were multiple sections where you were ending up like, wow. Some of the doll routines, it's like there's one part where everybody goes like, ah. There were like 6 parts of that routine where everybody was just taken aback. You won't get that too much anymore. All right. That was a long talk. I may do this with the J-Sets. That's the only other team I know that I could do this with. I can't do it with anybody else because I don't know them. Or at least not extensively. I could probably do Stingettes over the past decade, maybe. But I can't do anybody else, okay? But anyway, I thank you guys for watching or not watching. I don't know which one it is. But I do have some honorable mentions that I'm going to include because after I started looking at some other things, I started feeling bad about a couple of routines, but I'm going to just put them in as an honorable mention. All right, stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about some other stuff. I don't know what it is yet. So, whatever.